Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the sequential projector headlights with the gloss black housing and the clear lens, available for the 10 to 12 GT and V6 Mustang with halogen factory lights. You should be checking these out if you're looking to differentiate yourself from the rest of the Mustangs on the road by switching up your front end more traditional reflector style headlights to get a projector style with a black housing to give you a nice stealthy look. Now this particular option has the iconic tri-bar accent lights that we recognize from the Mustang taillights, but now you can get it at your front end. These tri-bars are LEDs with a 5K color temperature, which means they're a bluish white light that will then transform over to an amber when it comes time for your turn signals or hazard lights. These are going to be really bright and attractive, and they're definitely something that blend in with the Mustang lineage. Getting those tri-bars at the front, in my opinion, are a huge plus for the outside appearance of the S197. Now, when that tri-bar accent LED turns into your turn signals and hazard lights, they are actually going to flash in sequence. So that adds another layer of uniqueness to the front end of your S197. These guys will turn amber and start flashing from the inside to the outside in sequence, like you see with a lot of the newer gen Mustang taillights. Now the lighting themselves, obviously going from the reflector style to the projector style, gets you a brighter, more attractive white light with the low and high beams with H1s already built into these headlights. You don't have to transfer over those bulbs. Now this is going to have a gloss black interior housing. That means that where the factory reflector or chrome interior was is now gloss black to give you the impression of a smoked lens. Your clear lens, however, is not going to impede any lighting output. The black inside is just going to give you that impression. So you get the stealthy look at the front end, but keep all that lighting output for safety and visibility. The price tag for these comes in right around $400 for the pair, and the install I'm giving 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. They are a direct plug and play, which means you don't have to cut and splice any wiring, but in order to swap your headlights on the front end of your 10 to 12, you do have to take the factory front bumper off, which just is a little bit more involved than, say, a 1 out of 3 wrenches. I'm going to show you guys every step of the process. It'll take you about 2 hours with very simple hand tools in the driveway at home. What do you say we get started? Tools used in this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, 7mm short socket, 8 and 10mm deep sockets, flathead screwdriver, and a panel removal tool. First things first, for the uninstall here, we got to get our factory bumper off in order to uninstall our factory headlights. Start by popping your hood. We're going to focus on taking the top radiator shroud off first. So grab a panel removal tool and let's get to work. All right, so we're just going to pop off these plastic black push pin clips by prying up on the center section and then pulling up on the bottom section underneath all in one piece. Do that for all of them. All right, lift up on your shroud and set it aside. All right, underneath of that shroud, there are 2 factory bumper bolts holding this guy on, 8mm right here on each side. Grab your 8 socket and impact gun or ratchet and get them off. All right, with both of those out of the way, we can focus on the wheel wells. We have our vehicle up in the air for the next step here in the wheel well. We have 2 small 7mm bolts holding in the wheel well liner to the factory bumper on the sides here. Grab a 1/4-inch ratchet and a socket or a wrench and get these 2 guys off. You can repeat that on the other side as well. All right, so next up, we're underneath of our vehicle. We have ours on a lift. You might be working on a jack stand and a hydraulic jack on the floor, but either way, we have to disconnect our fog lights and the harnesses connecting to our marker lights and turn signals on the side. Now, this vehicle has a Boss 302 front fascia, so it's got different fog lights down here. If you have a GT Mustang, your fog lights are going to be in the grille. If you have a V6, you don't have fog lights at all, so you can skip that. But because we have these unique fog lights, I'm going to disconnect them right here on each side, just like this, by pulling on the sides here. Can be a bit tight. Now we can go up onto the sides of the bumper here and disconnect that marker light. All right, so that marker light's just up in here. You're just gonna pinch and disconnect that harness. Do the same thing on the other side. All right, the next step here, what we can do is start disconnecting the bumper from the body of the vehicle. The first step here is up at the grille. There's a little locking tab there, just lift up and over. And then from the sides, you're basically just gonna crack it off. There's a couple of plastic clips that hold it into the fender there, just like that. Pulling that away from the vehicle. Do the same thing on the other side and we can lift up and off. All right, guys, now keep in mind, as you lift this off, if you have a GT with fog lights in the grille, you wanna make sure you're disconnecting those harnesses prior so you don't pull the harnesses straight out. So what then you can do is lift up and directly off, set it straight down. If there is still one master harness at the bottom, disconnect that as well, and then you can set it aside. All right, because this is an aftermarket bumper, we have to disconnect this horn retaining harness and just let that guy dangle down there. You may not have that on your stock bumper. Now we can set it aside. All right, so now we have 3 bolts holding on our factory headlight. I'm gonna start here on our driver's side. There's 1 at the top and 2 directly underneath that were covered by the bumper. Grab a 10 socket and get these off. All right, so now we have 2 10mm bolts at the bottom and then 1 final push pin clip at the top. Up here by our factory 10mm, we have 1 more push pin clip. So grab a panel removal tool and pry up on that middle section. Just pull it all out in one piece. All right, pull your headlight straight back and disconnect the harnesses. Ours are pretty tight in there, so you may need to grab a flathead to help pry up on that piece. Just like that. Same thing for the other one. All right, set your factory light aside. All right, now you can repeat on the other side. All right, so we got the factory driver side off of our 11 GT behind me, and it's on the table next to our sequential projector headlight with the gloss black interior housing and the clear lens. So let's go through some similarities and differences between the two kits. Starting with construction, it's gonna be all OEM quality construction with your new headlight. It's gonna have OEM quality fitment, and it's gonna be a plug and play to the factory harnesses. You're only gonna transfer over 1 bulb socket in order to power the LEDs, but still plug and play, no splicing. Now in terms of differences, the design is almost completely different. What you're gonna see on the inside here is an H1 high and low beam projector style bulb housing, as opposed to your factory reflector that houses the halogens. Now, this guy here is gonna be a lot brighter, it's gonna be a lot more attractive, and a lot more of a pure white light when it comes to the low and high beam, so it's gonna be more effective. That's gonna keep you safer at night too. Now in terms of just the design overall and the aesthetics of it, you're gonna get 3 individual LED strips on the side, accent lights, that'll sequence when it comes to the pattern. That means when you turn your turn signals on or your hazards on or even your parking lights, you're gonna see them sequence. It'll blink from the inside going out 1, 2, 3. Now that's something you typically see with a taillight, but it's not very common these days to see them with a headlight. So this is gonna stand you out from the pack for sure. We know there's a lot of 10 to 12 Mustangs on the road, so having sequential headlights like this is gonna help you stand out. Now another thing that's different is the interior housing finish. This particular option here with the sequential projector headlight has a gloss black interior with a clear lens. It's gonna give you the impression of a smoked lens without hindering any of the light output. If you're not a fan of the gloss black interior, there's an exact replica version of this, but matte black instead. So if you're looking for a little bit more stealth, the matte black's gonna be the way to go. If you like the glossier finish, this is gonna be the one for you. Now at this point, we have to transfer over that 1 factory bulb I mentioned a second ago, so we're gonna spin these guys around, transfer it over, plug in the LED, and get going inside the car. All right, so at the back of the factory headlight, twist that brown bulb socket counterclockwise, pull it straight out. I'm gonna set this guy on its back so we don't scratch the lens. You're gonna have to pull out this bulb. Don't grab from the bulb itself, grab from the base, just wiggle it back and forth, and it pops right out. Now we can transfer it over. Looking at this LED harness here that's coming out of the new headlight, it's just gonna plug into the back where the bulb was. You wanna take note of which way you're plugging it in. You wanna match up this black wire to the same side of the black wire on your factory harness back here. You wanna match up the yellow wire to the same side of that. So you may wanna take a look at the factory harness before plugging this in. Once you know which side it's on, plug that guy in and seat it into the housing just like this. Twist it to lock it in place. Now we can get in the car. All right, so now we can take our factory harness and we're just gonna start plugging it in. This is plug and play, so these guys snap right into each other. You're gonna bring this guy up and connect the brown bulb socket that we transferred over and plugged our LEDs into, making sure that the brown wire matches up with the brown wire on the LED connector on the inside. And then from here, we can seat this into the Mustang. Grab the factory 10mm and put them back in. You wanna put the factory 10mm back, as well as that black push pin clip. I'm gonna tighten this guy down and then do the bottom. All right, so line up the bottom ones, put the factory 10mm back in there. Tighten them down. Line up the bottom ones, tighten them down, repeat on the other side. All right, so at this point we can lift up on our bumper, set it into place, First thing we're focusing on are the two little tabs on each side of the headlight, bringing that guy on and hooking it on. Do that on both sides. And now we can hook on the wheel well section. All right, so now we have to hook in the bumper around the inner wheel well brackets. So we want to make sure those are getting clipped in. Same thing with the inner wheel well itself. Make sure that goes around. The top clips here where the bumper meets the fender are pretty easy. They line right up and snap in. Same thing on the other side. All right, grab that factory 8mm bolt, put that back through and tighten it down. Same thing on the other side. All right, now we can put that radiator shroud back on there. Just make sure you're tucking it in where it needs to go, under the bumper and around the hood prop. All right, grab those push pin clips and put them all back through. All right, so back in the wheel well, we only have 2 screws to put back in here, both 7mm. I'm gonna set those guys in by hand and then grab my socket to tighten them down. All right, do the same thing on the other side. Now remember, our bumper is a little bit different than factory. It's an aftermarket one. So we have fog lights here. So I'm just gonna reconnect those, but you wanna make sure you're reconnecting your fog lights if you've got them in the grill like a traditional GT. All right, last step, go into your bumper, connect your marker lights. Same thing on both sides, bring it back down on the ground, and you're good to go. That's gonna wrap up my review and install for the sequential projector headlights with the gloss black housing and the clear lens, fitting all 10 to 12 GT and V6 Mustangs with the factory halogens. Pick yours up right here at AmericanMuscle.com.